Hello, people. We are back. Toffee Bluecast is back. Football is here. International break is over. Paul, how are we doing? You all right?
Good, yeah. I'm excited. No more international football for a few months. Thank the Lord. And we get back to us, which is nice. It feels good, actually. I'm feeling a little bit more positive. I don't know why. But, a little bit more positive as we go into a home game, which is good.
Yeah, well, normally I'm really, and I love Everton to pieces. Everyone already knows that, but normally I'm itching for Everton to be back. But I've actually really enjoyed this international break. Probably something we'll talk about on a little bit. Maybe it's something to do with Sean Dyche winding me up, and I've enjoyed him not winding me up for a good couple of, how long was international break? A week or so. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this international break. We are back. Get in the comments, get involved. We don't ignore comments, so we do try and get all the comments on the screen. I want to say it earlier on, right? Looking up a lot of the YouTube stuff and all that, and they said it's massive that you're following. Do like your stuff. So if you put the likes on it, it helps it spread around YouTube. It helps get the channel bigger, and it helps us do better things. We don't want to come off the channel with not many views or likes, because if we do, it feels like we've not done a good show. So if you can, I know sometimes you forget. I used to do it when I used to watch YouTube channels. But if you can hit that like nice and early, just like it, support us, and it just allows us to keep doing what we're doing, then it helps us and it helps our channels actually get seen. So get on that like, get on that subscribe early if you can. If you don't want to, it's fine. But if you actually want to support us, that will support us. So get on it nice and early. So this is a big game. Everton at home against Brentford. And we've done it. Of course we've done it. Because on a Friday night, when the game's coming up and you want to get ready for the game, you've got to get the opposition fan on. You've got to get the opposition fan on. And we've done it. Of course we have. We've done it for you. So let's introduce Brentford fan. How are we doing, Craig? You all right?
Yes, very good. Very happy to be back here with you guys. Actually, second showing here with me here.
Yeah, we do like you. To be fair, you're the first person we look for when we think of Brentford. And I straight get him on. I was happy that you gave us the thumbs up to come on the show. Because it just makes it a better show when you can actually clash the fans and see what both fans think, and do a score prediction at the end against each other. It makes it good. So we've got a good show ahead of us. I've put a few bits together because I am really continuously watching content to try and get the Toffee Bluecast as good as a show as we can for you. So stay with us because we're going to make it interesting, not as long shows, and we are going to put stuff on the screen. We're going to start with your team. So we're going to look at Brentford's form. Then me and Paul will talk about Everton's form. Then I've got me and Paul. I've got your lineup, Brentford's lineup. Me and Paul will do a lineup, and we'll finish with score predictions. That's the system. So let's get into this. Let's get into it. Right, here we go. Bit of Dixie Dean there, looking on ball. Can't beat it, can you? Let's have a look. Let's put you in the middle. I'll move you then. My computer went on a wild one. Right, so here we go. This is you. This is Brentford's results. And I've gone technical here because I've gone green to highlight your wins, which there's quite a few green there. I've gone red to highlight your losses, and I just haven't done any colour on a draw because I don't think a draw deserves a colour. Talk us through your games there. Talk us through your games.
You'll notice all of those greens happen to be home games, and all of those reds happen to be away games. We're a team that has picked up, I think we've actually picked up the most home points of the season and scored the most home goals of the season, but only Southampton have a worse away record than we do in the Premier League this season at the moment. Now, Paul said before we came live, but don't worry, you're playing Everton this weekend. So let's see if we can't get a green away result there. But it's been a really up and down season. It's been such a strange season for us because you'll notice that we're scoring an awful lot of goals. especially at home. I mean, the last 3 home games itself, I think we've scored 12 goals in the last 3 home games, with 5 against Wolves, 4 against Ipswich, 3 against Bournemouth. But at the same time, we've also conceded 8 goals in those last 3 home games as well. Yeah. But in all of the away games that you see, City, Tottenham, United, and those down the road away from home as well. Unfortunately, we lost on the Monday night. Our away record's not great, Emma. That's the only problem there. We've been in every one of those games, and of those 4 that I mentioned, bar the Liverpool game right at the start of the season, we've gone ahead in every single one of those games and still come away from all of them with 0 points. So you've already got me thinking about a score prediction at the end, and I really don't know what I'm going to say. I've got to think about that one. But I think, unfortunately for you guys, we'll score. It's just whether or not you can score more than us, for judging from our results, as you might be able to see.
Yeah, you've actually scored 22 and conceded 22.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think
entertaining games anyway.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The entertainment factor. I think it was posted that we have been the most entertaining home team of the season so far, with the most goals in our home games. But I think we might be either the top scorers in the Premier League this season, and also maybe the second or third worst defense or leakiest defense. And saying worst defense probably doesn't actually describe our performances this season. You know, Nathan Collins at centre back has been absolutely fantastic. Vitaliano at defensive midfield has been absolutely fantastic. But for some reason, we just cannot keep the ball out of our net. So you'll also notice in all of those scores, we are yet to keep a clean sheet this season. So Everton fans, consider yourself lucky. You might at least get a goal this weekend. It just depends how many you want to put in the back of the net.
When I was writing this up, other than the team that you played second in at the start of the season, all the teams are pretty good that you've lost against. Yeah. I won't mention that second team in because we'll beat them in the derby. We will when we've got them coming up. But yeah, when you look, your big games, Crystal Palace. I say big games. I'm saying teams that you say to yourself, if we lose that, would be a little bit more peed off because they're going to be around us. And you look at Crystal Palace, you got a result there. Yeah. You look at Southampton, you did well, you got a result there. These are games that we are frustrated with, that we've either drawn or lost. Brentford, West Ham, you say that's all right result, a draw. You can accept it against West Ham, even though they're not that good at the minute. But Wolves, 5-3, I couldn't believe. I had to double check that when I written it down, 5-3 against Wolves. That's mad, that is. Brentford, Ipswich, 4-3, red card. I'm not quite sure when the red card come, but that looks
Ipswich.
A decent result.
That was an Ipswich red card. Yeah. At one point, I think his name is Harry Clark. Thankfully for Johan Wissa. Johan Wissa was later given the goal in that game. But Harry Clark had what was described as the worst Premier League debut ever, because he scored an own goal, gave away a penalty, and got sent off in the same game. But the goal was then later given to Johan Wissa, so he's been let off the hook a little bit.
Well, that's a player that sounds like an Everton player, so maybe we should sign this player, because that's a proper Everton thing to do. And then
also,
I'm just going to chuck on.
The other thing, Dan, is that they're fourth in the form table. They're on par with City. There's only those across the park, Forest and Brighton, who've got a better form record at the moment. So even though they're sort of conceding loads, they're actually form-wise not too bad at the moment.
That'll be down to that'll absolutely be down to our home games, because as I mentioned, you'll notice all of those in red. We are not at home. We're yet to pick up a single point away from home this season, and only dropping points in that West Ham game. And Dan, you might have said, "Oh, you could take it against West Ham." I'm telling you now, we should have had 18 points on the board this season. We should have actually had 21, because I can't believe we didn't beat Fulham. And I know there'll probably be a Fulham fan somewhere who finds this video and will be laughing at themselves as I'm saying it. But there's no way that we should have drawn that West Ham game and lost away at Fulham. The Fulham one is I'm lost for words on that one. Just imagine conceding 2 goals in the last 5 minutes against your most bitter rivals for them to nick it at home. Sickener.
It sounds like Everton. It really just because we're the same. Me and Paul will talk about our games and West Ham. I can't believe West Ham the chances we have first half. Don't even take me back to that Bournemouth game being up 2-0 up 84th minute. 2-0 up 84th minute, and we decide to lose 3-2 in like 6-7 minutes. So we look at that as well. When you see all the greens on the table that you've got there, you do think to yourself, because like you've just said, those Reds, you could have actually won them. So you could be in a really good position this season, and it's frustrating that you probably didn't fully take advantage of it, because this season has been up and down for everyone. So you could have been a lot better off than what you are, even though you are okay at the minute.
Yeah, funnily enough, you mentioned that. Again, Paul and I were talking before about the gap between 3rd and 13th, which is just 4 points. And if we had not thrown away the game in which we did at Fulham and not picked up maximum points at home to West Ham, believe it or not, Brentford would be 3rd. We'd be 3rd. It's crazy.
I've been saying that to the Everton fans. I worked out all the games that we've given away, and it was about 9 points. And I look where we'd be in the table, and we've been near top 4. We would be near top 4, and I'm not even joking. We would be near. But when I put this table, when I go to I've seen it, Emma. Wait for my table coming now, the Everton table. I've seen it. Yes, it wasn't nice to type up. In fact, it made me stew a little bit. I felt like a kettle that had just been holding down, even though it's boiled, and it kept boiling and boiling. That's what I felt like writing it down.
Well, Dan, before you go on to your table, one thing that might fill Everton fans with a little bit more confidence: the Man City game, the Spurs game, the West Ham game, the United game, and the Fulham game. Brentford went ahead in all of those games. But out of the 5 that I've just mentioned, we've come out of the 5 with a whopping 1 point. So if we score first, you might be in luck. It just depends if you want to let us get our foot in front first. And was it City, Spurs, West Ham and Wolves? We scored 4 games in which we scored goals within the first 2 minutes. Well, it was the first minute until we got to the Wolves game, and then we were slacking a little bit and scored within the second minute for that one, which is completely unacceptable if you ask me. But if you let us go ahead first, we're not very good at holding on to these leads. And as I said already, we've got no clean sheet this season. So I expect Everton to bag 1 at least.
You serious?
Dead serious.
Yeah. Are you serious? That's the question. He just said he's expecting Everton to bag a goal. It was right. It was right.
You said,
right.
Didn't you say, Dan, you've dropped 9 points already this season? In those 5 games alone, we've dropped 13 points from winning positions this season.
Well, let's come in. Let's do this then. Let's get it up. I mean, look at the red at the bottom. Look at the red. Look at the red at the bottom. Right. So the red represents loss. The way we started the season. Brighton, yes. Brighton, we were shocking. We didn't turn up. I can accept that loss. I can't accept that we didn't turn up, but I can't even say we was close in that game. Tottenham, never seen us play so bad ever. Awful in the Tottenham game. Bournemouth game, like I said to you, 84th minute, 2-0 up. If you can't see that, you might as well quit your job. Aston Villa, 2-0 up. 2-0 up. And some Everton fans say, oh, yeah, but Aston Villa are good. They've got a good manager. Sure, we're 2-0 up. I'm sorry, but they wasn't that good. I watched them after they've played us, and they've been struggling a little bit after they've played us. There was on a little bit of a come down, and we could have took advantage of that. Aston Villa, we should have at least got a draw 2-2. You shouldn't be losing 3-2 at 2-0 up. So there's 6 points. Leicester, we should have battered them. Dyche is a bottle job that game. Should have battered them. That's 6 points. Moving on to Everton versus Crystal Palace. That was a comeback game, like you said. They went ahead and we did come back. So when you said that, it was in my head about that game, that we can come back when we've gone 1-0 down. So I was happy with that. Newcastle, fair enough. I'll take the draw. We want better than them. Ipswich, we turned up that. Fulham, there was miles better than us. Draw was a good result for us. Southampton, shocking. Southampton, Dyche does my head against them. Like, Dyche sits back against Southampton like the Manchester City. We didn't even try and win that game. That could have been 3 points if Dyche actually didn't bottle it. And then West Ham was awful. All the West Ham fans says to us after we played West Ham, they said, I can't believe you lost against us. We were shocking. And there wasn't wrong. So like I say, 3, 6, 9, you could easily be saying 9, 10 points that we should be having on the table. And when you talk about the table, you add 10 points to that, you're miles up to what I'm showing. You're not even on the table if you add 9 points to that 10 that we've got there. So it hurts. And the same with you. You're on 16. So you add those points that you've just said. You are talking like 5th, 6th position. Being in a really good position. Your fans getting super excited. And it's just, like you've just said, it feels like massively missed an opportunity where you could have had a good season. And you just haven't. And our manager's just made so much excuses. Where for me, it feels like because we've been in struggles before in relegation battles and stuff like that, our manager's just gone back to that bar. It's okay because where we was last season. I don't care where we was last season. Fact is, this season, I've watched the games and we should have had a lot more points and we should be nowhere near where we was last season. We should be already putting ourselves miles away from a relegation battle with the way this season's panned out. But Dyche, instead, it's like he gets away with losing the games because he knows that we've been in relegation battles the season before. And that's how I feel. So I'm a little bit frustrated with this. You can see we have picked up a draw, a win, draw, a win, a draw, a win. We are starting to put a bit of form together. But when you actually watch the games, it looks all right on the table there. But when you actually watch the games, very frustrating. I'm going to chuck you on this, Paul, before we get on to the lineups.
Yeah, no. So performance-wise, it's been up and down completely, as it always is. Taking the positives out of it, we've conceded. Well, we conceded 2, 3. We've conceded 4 goals in 7 games. And we're actually the best defence from October onwards in the league. Would you believe it? But it's the fact that we can't score enough. That's the problem. Well, certainly seems it in the last couple of games anyway. So I'm trying to be positive this week. I'm trying to be positive, sort of going into the weekend. Everyone coming back, a lot of people fit. Brantwaite is more or less back. He seemed quite positive, Dyche, in the press conference and stuff. So, there are positives to be taken. It's just us getting the ball in the net at the moment. So that, like we said earlier on in the season, the Leicester game was a bit of a watershed moment in the fact that, and the Palace game was rather, in the fact that either we got a win there and we turned it around, which we have to some degree, or it went absolutely tits up like it did in the first 4 games of the season. So it's not all doom and gloom. If we do get the win tomorrow, the way the other fixtures are, we could end up really 6 points, 5, 6 points away from sort of 17th place, looking
this is what
rosy and confident. So
this is the reason that I had to put the table on at the end, Paul, because like you've just said, it's a little bit scary now because we wasn't near the relegation battle. And now teams at the bottom have started picking up. Southampton obviously beat us, picked up points. Crystal Palace have got the first win on the board. Ipswich Town won as well. You do look at that table now, and it does like you get flashbacks. Bottom 3, stay away from bottom 3. That's what I'm thinking. The moment we look at it now, we're getting back to that zone. And the last season at Goodison Park, I do not want us to be in a relegation battle. So we need to step on. This game's massive. I mean, you're on 16 points, Craig. Do you look at that table and think like me, you've got to stay away from that bottom? Or are you more confident you haven't been in relegation battles?
Fellas, I'm a Brentford fan. I'm still just enjoying being in the Premier League at the moment. It's our 4th season now. And I think over the 4 seasons, maybe bar last season, we've shown that we're more than capable of holding our own in this division. Last season, I think we got a little bit fortunate with, teams yourself getting points deductions, having Luton, having Sheffield United, and having Burnley in the division as well, helped us not get sucked into it as much as a lot of Brentford fans thought we would have, because there was a lot of relegation talk at one point, and I'm gonna touch wood next to me here, that even now, still after 3 and a bit seasons, 3 seasons and 11 games, Brentford are still yet to be in the relegation zone in the Premier League. So that's something that's good. But like, if we hadn't lost to Fulham in the manner in which we did, and we had come away with 3 points, we would be on 19 points, and we'd be 7th, funnily enough, where Fulham are at the moment. But it's just keeping the ball out of the net. But to a bit of a long-winded way of saying, no, I'm not too worried about looking over my shoulder at the moment. I think that our home form has calmed a lot of Brentford fans' nerves going into the season. We was a bit unsure about what the team would be like without Ivan Toney in it, but Wissa and Bomo absolutely hit the ground running, and it's been incredibly enjoyable to watch us this season so far.
Well, let's get into it then, people. We've asked Craig to give us his lineup, and I've already got his lineup. So he'll talk about a few players that he likes. We'll look at Brentford, and then me and Paul will do a lineup for Everton. And we want you in the comments now to write what Everton lineup you want this game. I know it's a mission, but me and Paul really do like to see you get involved, get your lineups in the comments. We want to see what would your lineup be for tomorrow. Right, let's have a look at this Brentford team. It's pretty decent, to be fair. It is decent. I'm not going to lie. Here we go. Where is it? Try and hide it.
It's that
can I just say it? I've got to say it. I love your manager. I want him for Everton. And I know you're not going to like me saying that. I really want him.
Can't have him. You cannot have him.
I want him so bad. If anybody says to me, "What manager do you want?" I've said him, and I'm not that type of person that says things behind people's backs. I'm going to tell you now openly, and I don't mean this in any sort of harsh way. I would do anything to get your manager. I really, really, really do like your manager. I think he's fantastic. And before you come on the show, when you was in the Toffee Bluecast room, you was talking about your players not even knowing what position they're in, but it works. And that's because your manager is so clever tactically. He's such a good tactical manager, which our manager, I think he thinks that tactics means tic-tacs. I don't think he even knows what tactics mean. I think he gets the both confused. If you say to him what tactics you do, he starts opening the tic-tacs up and chucks one in his mouth. Right. This is your team. This is your team. Tell us what you like.
Well, just a little point on Thomas Frank. This season, he's actually changed the style in which Brentford are playing, and Nick's just kind of taking the words out of my mouth a little bit there. Although I don't want Thomas Frank at Everton at all. I want him to stay at Brentford. He's absolutely changed the style in which we play football. Away at City, we did it. We scored in the first minute. Away at Spurs, we did it. We scored in the first minute. We did it away at United for 45 minutes, and we didn't do it at all at Fulham. Even when we played Liverpool, the Reds from the other side, even when we played them, when we played them, we play this new high-pressing, high-intensity football, playing out from the back, finding the spaces in midfield to then have Brian Mbumo, Johan Wissa, Kevin Schade, Keane Lewis-Potter, Fabio Carvalho, to be able to use their pace to be able to break through the defensive lines. And unfortunately, at the moment, we're struggling at the other end of the pitch, as I keep saying, to keep the ball out of the net rather than put it in. All right. The biggest issue this season that we have had all season, Vandenberg is playing right back, and he is a centre-back. We haven't had a fully fit right-back all season. Keane Lewis-Potter is a left-winger, right-winger, playing at left-back, because, again, we haven't had a fully fit left-back all season. Rico Henry did his ACL last season. He hasn't come back yet. Aaron Hickey did his hamstring in October last year and hasn't come back yet. We bought a young lad called Jaden Magoma from Southampton as a left back, but we haven't given him an opportunity. And Christopher Aya is made of glass, apparently, because he is injured again also. So we've had a bit of a makeshift back four, back five, depending on who we play all season. However, Keane Lewis Potter at left back seems to have answered all of the questions that we've had defensively. We just need to get Rico Henry back, but in the meantime, he's doing a fantastic job. Our midfield is solid. Norgard's our captain, and we're a completely different team without him in it. Vitaly Janelt scored an absolutely brilliant goal away at Fulham on that Monday night to put us 1-0 up. And Jensen himself, he's only been back 3 games from injury. Mikael Damsgaard is our player of the season this season so far. We're seeing Mikael Damsgaard from the Euros in 2020, that when he scored against England in the semi-final, not even shades, we are seeing that player. He's a completely different player to last season, and every Brentford fan I speak to agrees that he is probably our player of the season. And then we've got Brian Mbeumo and Johan Wissa, and I think only Haaland has scored more goals than Brian Mbeumo this season, and Wissa is one behind him. So going forwards, we're going to score. I don't think there's been a game other than them that we haven't scored in. So we're going to score, but I can almost assure you we're going to concede at the same time. So I just hope that the midfield can hold out and support the defense, because the defense is what needs to support, really.
I was going to say, thing about Wissa as well. I saw this stat, which is bizarre. He's had 15 shots this season, scored 7 goals.
Yeah.
He's got like 47%
conversion rate
success, which is the highest out of anyone who's had at least 5 shots. So,
but I think Wissa's also missed a few games this season already due to injury as well. So he hasn't played all of the games. There are very few players in that team. I think maybe Nathan Collins, Ethan Pinnock, Brian Mbeumo, and Damsgaard, who have played all of our games this season. We're so inconsistent with the injuries and full fitness of the players that we get. I mean, case in point, as the ones I've mentioned already, Rico Henry, Aaron Hickey, Josh De Silva. These are players that Igor Thiago. We should actually talk about him as well. Gustavo Nunes. Those are 2 new players that we signed in the summer that we haven't even seen yet. However, I do think it's important, now I mention him, that we talk about Igor Thiago, because this is going to be the first game of the season that he is going to be involved in. He's our £30 million striker that we bought in the summer. I think he's the most expensive player we've ever bought. Got injured against AFC Wimbledon in a pre-season friendly. Did his meniscus in the first game that he played for us. But Thomas Frank said in his pre-match interview that Igor Thiago will be involved in the matchday squad. And I know that all Brentford fans are excited to see what he brings to the team. He's very Ivan Toney-esque, very big, very strong, can hold the ball up. But from what we saw in the Belgium League with Bruges last season, he certainly knows how to put the ball in the back of the net as well.
But yeah, why do you have to have a player back? Can't you just rest him until we've played you?
I don't want him to rest back.
I was gutted that he was injured for it. Well, not gutted because I don't support Brentford, but I was a little bit like, oh, that's unlucky that you've spent that much on a striker, and he has such a bad injury. And he was scoring for you. I think he got a brace, didn't he, before he got injured? Yeah, he got a brace before he got injured. He
has played 1 game for us, and that was AFC Wimbledon in pre-season, and he scored twice in that game. He hasn't played anything since. Sorry, I lie. I think he played 45 minutes against Exeter in the behind closed doors friendly the other day.
Yeah, well, you can keep him on the bench, but we'll see. We'll have to deal with it. We got the goat in defence, which we'll put on the screen in a minute. You've spoke about most players, and we'll move on to us now. But I just want to say on what you have said, Wissa, he's fantastic. He is.
Yeah.
He's like, I think think he's massively underrated. I really do think he's underrated. He reminds me of, and this is a crap comparison, by the way, because I'm not comparing him like for position wise. I'm comparing them just from when I watch them, thinking, "Wow, they're fast." He reminds me of Lucas Moura when I first fought him. When I first watched Lucas Moura, I thought, "Wow, he's fast. He's rapid," and he's same. This is really, really fast, isn't he? And he closes a lot down. I think he presses goalkeepers really well, and he just gets a lot of stuff by how fast he is. He puts people under pressure with his speed.
Yeah,
and he is decent. Mabana, who you said, really good as well. We all know he's good. You've got a good attacking force, and the good thing is you've got 3 solid midfielders that let those 3 players go forward. Damsgaard that you mentioned, I couldn't believe that he's took so long to get going, but it's good for you that he has got going now, because when I watched him, like saying the Euros, I thought it's fantastic. What a signing! How did you get him? And it looks like he's come to light. Paul, have you got our lineups now? Should we chuck ours? That is a decent lineup, though, mate. It is. I'm not going to lie.
Can I give you a little bit of a fun Brentford fact before we move on to the Everton lineup?
Go for it.
Those 3 midfielders, all are midfielders that play for Brentford in the Championship. They played for us in the year we got promoted from the Championship, and in the 4th Premier League season, they're still our 3 midfielders.
It's nice to see, to be fair. I hate players getting pushed out when you get promoted. Like, literally.
Says a lot about your manager. Says a lot about your manager, that, as well. Because you got to try and improve players, particularly if they're coming up from Championship, Premiership, and then they're still here. So that's a good kudos to him, really, for getting that done.
Leave Thomas Frank alone.
I can't. I was daydreaming about him then when you said that. We will do our lineup live on the show, people. We've seen you getting your lineups in the comments, which I love to see. We'll chuck them all on the screen, and we'll try and figure out what your lineup is, and then we finish with score prediction. Paul, this is going to be hard for us, isn't it? Have you got it ready? This isn't going to be easy. By the way, Craig, we struggled doing lineups. You've done that lineup, and you look like you're not stressed. You know who's going where. You've completely accepted who goes where. You're not bothered if players are out of position because your manager's got it sorted. We rip our hair out sometimes when we do these lineups with our manager at the minute.
So, team news wise, Brozier has trained all week, but he's not going to be. He's not involved in this one. Branthwaite is fit. He trained yesterday after a little sort of layoff, but Dyche seemed quite positive about it. Long term is like Coleman, Garner, Rubenham still out.
Shamiti back was interesting. Not back to play, but back on the grass. Sorry? Shamiti.
Yeah, on the grass.
Yeah,
on the grass.
That's a nice one. Shamiti and Brozier on the grass. That's a good to hear.
So we've still got a little bit of a list of injured, but the general usual suspects are able to be involved. So sounds all right. So here we go. JP.
I love these comments coming in as well. Sean Dyche saved us from relegation. When will we get an attacking coach? We're going to be talking about Sean Dyche on this lineup. But by the way, Paul, before we even start putting these players in, Sean Dyche, like, I've had a nice international break. I've tried not to think about Everton. And the first thing I see is like when Sean Dyche has spoke to the press is him saying that Njai is... Nobody said that he's a number 10. It's not proven that Njai is a number 10. And he played for Sheffield in the number 10, and he played for his international team in the number 10. And oh my days, Sean Dyche knows how to wrestle your head, doesn't he? He really does. Like, Njai is a 10.
Well, there's no evidence of that, Dan. There's no evidence that he would be good in the number 10.
There's evidence that Njai played in the 10. Get the FBI.
I mean, the thing
I want
is,
to see it.
There was no evidence, particularly that McNeil was going to be a good number 10, but that's where he's put him, and that's where he's playing. Would he?
No evidence that Michael Keane
put McNeil in that position if we didn't have Njai, though? Do you know what I mean? Would McNeil be in that 10 if we didn't have Njai? So that'd be interesting. But I think he's just fobbing off fobbing off any sort of questions like that. Really, kind of leave me alone and I'll pick the team. Pretty much. That was the gist that I got anyway from the press conference.
I honestly, that's your point. You're saying that you think he's like fobbing them off, which I get that. You might be right, but for me, I think personally, Dyche, what makes him frustrating to me sometimes, I feel he has to have his stamp on him. So even if a player was fantastic, Dyche should have to make the reason that he made him fantastic. He has to put his own version, like of someone somewhere or Brentford somewhere. He always seems to, like Dyche has come into Everton and he wants everything to be under his story. I made that play good in that position. I made that. Instead of just going the easy route for me sometimes. But I'll be wrong.
He doesn't like throwing people in at all. Like Brozier's done done a week full of training. Vinny O'Connor asked him whether there was a game, like a friendly or whatever, behind closed doors or anything, just to get him up to match fitness or anything else, and he said, oh well, he's kind of getting through it and everything else, kind of implying that Brozier's nowhere near ready for actually putting his studs on the grass at Goodison. That was the impression that he was kind of giving. So he just holds people back a little bit.
He's like that. I've had a boss like him. He's like someone that continuously has to have you under your spell. So when I used to work for this guy, this boss that was strict, right? You could be with him and he could be so nice to you. But then if you try and have a laugh and be under your own little area, he'd bollock you just to make you know that he's your boss. And that's what Dyche is like. He likes to remind everybody that he's under control. He really does. And I think he loves it. And I think he might even think that he's going to get the sack the moment this takeover happens, and that he's completely having us on with being like as much in control as he can and showing us that he's in control. We get it. We get it, Sean Dyche. We do.
Yeah. He's not really acknowledging that the takeover is likely to be successful either. Is very much, well, if it happens and all this sort of stuff. So
plays everything down.
Funny listening to him.
Like, it's like awkward next to you. Yeah, I agree. Right, let's get on to this then. We can't have a big rant about Sean Dyche. We've got to be nice. You know what? I don't even want to moan, but he knows how to push your buttons. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you tell your partner all your weaknesses, all your secrets, and you have an argument, and she's like, boop, 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 and knows all your triggers to make you bark your head off like a dog. You know what I mean? She knows your weaknesses. You know what I mean? And Sean Dyche is like that. He knows your weaknesses. He knows what triggers you, Sean Dyche.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
That's someone told Sean Dyche in the press conference that he's got to start attacking, and that's what Sean Dyche said. No, he's not attacking. He is not attacking.
Well,
right.
He was also asked about tactic information and the instructions that he gives to the players.
You shall not pass!
So, it's swings and roundabouts with Sean. Anyway, here we go. Are we going Miko left back?
Yeah, I've seen a few Everton fans on X saying Mikolenko's been awful this season, but he doesn't need to step up.
He's not been as bad as that, really.
No, I don't think he's been awful.
As bad as anyone else, anyway.
Yeah, he's not been Leighton Baines, but he's not been awful.
Exactly. Jared, he seemed quite positive that he would be
in
the 11.
Not convinced. I'm not convinced he's going to slip Michael Keane in here. I really hope he don't. Go on.
You just gotta keep the faith and hope that it is.
Everton fans, do you know what I want to point out now? Sometimes when I do slate Michael Keane, some Everton fans hate it. They're really Michael Keane's won a lot of Everton fans over, by the way. He hasn't won me over because I remember the 3-4 years he was on holiday when he signed for us. But some Everton fans really do rate him highly and see Tarkowski as the problem.
Well, yeah, maybe short memories, But Tarks, I presume, will start ahead of him.
Boo.
Hope so.
Boo.
He always
why
plays
is
good
it?
against you.
I forget.
He
Why
plays
is it?
good
Why
against
is it,
Brentford.
Craig? Why is it he's not liked? I can't remember. Go on.
So he obviously used to play for Brentford,
Yeah.
and there was rumours that Burnley were interested in him. So he refused to play against them in a game so that he could force a move out of the club.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah, I get
So
that. To be honest with you.
as I so aptly put, boo.
God, long memories, haven't they? These Brentford fans.
we
Jesus.
know how to hold a grudge, mate. Don't worry.
We're as bad, to be fair. We are as bad.
In the light of not much competition or people on right back, are we presuming Ashley will continue to be our right back man?
Yeah, I feel sorry for
anything different.
I feel sorry for Patterson. I think Patterson should have been loaned out because Dyche is never going to give him a chance. And I really feel sorry for him. And I think when Patterson is loaned out, he can actually develop. He's a young lad. He needs to develop, Patterson does. And Dyche has just completely killed him at the minute. He really has. I don't think Dyche will ever play Patterson. So, but one thing I will say, Craig, is if you would have spoke to us last season, I couldn't stand Ashley Young. He used to get carded in the first 10 minutes. He showed no experience. He was rational. He looked like a winger that was a right back, and he was awful. But this season, I only judge a player by what he's doing. I don't hold grudges against him. He's a lot better this season. So I can actually put him there and not feel that bad. I'm actually comfortable with Ashley Young right back. Can't believe I'm saying that.
He's certainly an experienced Premier League player, isn't he? Ashley not so young anymore.
No, actually old.
Actually not so young. But that's one hell of a career he's had.
Yeah. He's got better now. I think, do you know, when results was going against us, it felt like me that when our defence was a bit everywhere when Brentford wasn't there, Ashley Young started like showing his experience and started like pushing, organising them. So keep your lines. And I think he's got a bit of good team spirit, Ashley Young, and he is a good lad to have in the changing room, and it seems that he's a good lad to have on the pitch now. Why we ain't got right back? Right, this is where it gets tricky, Paul. Centre, mid.
Well, I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think there's maybe a choice between Mangala and Decore, say. You know, Garner Gay seems as though he's going to be first on the team sheet anyway. Because you got no James Garner, you got no Tim in there because he's not ready. So chances are that you're gonna have Garner Gay wherever he is. Yeah, so he'll be in there. And it's who's going to be alongside him. So will he go Decore or would he go Mangala?
Yeah, because by our availability on the attacking players, I think that Decore isn't going to be needed in the 10th position, which makes me think, like you say, it's more if Decore doesn't get into this position, he probably won't be playing. So it's a biggie, this is. Do you go Decore or do you go Mangala? I think you've got to go Mangala just for the reason that Mangala has got better feet. Do you know what I mean? Like with the ball into his feet, he seems like he's got better feet in the midfield.
I mean, I agree. I would choose Mangala.
James Garner isn't back, is he?
No, he's not. He's not ready yet. He's not ready yet. No. So I would choose Mangala ahead of Decore any day. But I do wonder whether Dyche is just going to throw Decore in and have Mangala on the bench, which he seems to have done in the previous few games. So personally, for me, I would choose Mangala. I think Dyche would likely choose Decore. But I'll let you choose.
What, though? One thing I will say, though, Paul, is I do think that if Decore did do the job there when he played there, some of our good results was when Decore did fill in that position. So we're thankful for that. But Decore is a box-to-box midfielder. He can pop in with a goal, you know. If you do play Decore in that position at the side of Garner Gay, I'd say Decore's got more chance of arriving late or scoring than what Mangala has. Because Decore has got goals in him. Yeah, he did score some key goals last season, Decore did. And sometimes I don't even think he knows how he scores, but he does pop up sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, he scores them from arriving in the box late as a 10. Since he's sort of been defensive mid or one of them two, I feel he's a liability in that position, to be honest. I just don't think he's a ball player at all. He's big and awkward, and he'll break up play, whether he means to or not. But
he's scoring tomorrow. He's scoring that.
He might well do. But I
don't think he'll start. I don't think he'll start, but he'll probably come on and score.
I much prefer someone who's going to be able to pass the ball a bit better and maneuver themselves out of tight situations, which I think Mangala does and Decore doesn't so much.
Let's get Mangala in there. Let's do Mangala. Let's get Mangala in the centre. See, I did tell you the centre midfield will be tricky because I think this picks itself now. It gets a bit easier here. Well, it might
a little bit, actually. Not all of it, but yeah, some of it, yeah.
All right.
So next on the left, it's your man. You're in love, aren't you?
Why? Yeah, but why? Why are we putting Iliman and Jai? I can't deny I'm in love. He's like Messi, honestly. I 100% think if you got Messi to do a DNA test with Iliman and Jai, Messi would be his dad. 100%. He's got to be. He's got to be his dad. He really has. I know the age won't match, but he's got to have some sort of genes that Messi's got. Because Iliman and Jai is just, he's the GOAT. Are we putting him on the left then? We're not putting him in the 10.
I think, to be honest, I think he could play anywhere. You know?
Yeah, but this is, I get what you're saying, but when I watched, whilst it's been the break, I've done my scouting, I've done a bit of watching the games back and stuff like that. A lot of Iliman and Jai's good players, when he cuts in, cuts in and takes a player on, he moves into that 10 position. And he looks very dangerous when he moves into the 10 position. And a lot of our goals have been when he's cut in and got into the 10 position, then he's done something decent and we've looked threatening. So why not? Don't make him have to cut in and get in the 10. Why not just play him in the 10? This is my point. Like, why not just have him there? Because he plays on the wing, so he's not always going to be able to get into the 10 to be dangerous. So then he's ineffective. So why don't you just play Iliman and Jai in the number 10? Like Daesh just said, in the 10 you've got to do all this stuff defensively, which I didn't really see Decore do that much. I think that's just a bit of Daesh chatting a bit of base. I don't know, Paul. What are we doing with Iliman and Jai? Are we putting him on the left?
Yeah, because that's where he's going to be. That is where he's going to be.
Go on, then. Go on.
Judging from what I'm hearing, you can leave him on the bench if you want.
Mate, he's just, I don't know how we signed him.
Very good. I mean, that leaves us with Messi in the middle then, doesn't it?
Yeah, he does look like he's going to be back. McNeil did score a cracking goal against Brentford. I don't want to remind you about it, but he did score a cracker.
It was like the first minute, I think it was as well.
Yeah, so I don't mind him in the 10.
About 34 seconds. About 34 seconds, and it actually was the earliest goal that we've scored and won 1-0 with.
I was there for that game. I was.
Well done, McNeil. Break his heart.
And I remember just thinking when we was never going to score that day. That was almost 2 years ago, I reckon. And I think we could still be playing now when we wouldn't have scored.
We do. You know what? One thing I will say, I've got a lot of flashes when we play you. And you don't play that well against us. There was a cup game where, I can't remember the exact game, but we played you in the cup. And Gomez doesn't often play well for us. And Gomez was like frigging Iniesta in the cup against you. And I couldn't believe it in the cup that we were so good. Yeah. I don't think you turn up against us that much. So it does give me a bit of confidence.
So I think you guys might correct me. In the 7 games, because we've had that cup game, in the 7 games in which we faced each other in the Premier League, I think Brentford have only won one of them. Or maybe we won 1-0 with a penalty in the first game as well. But the away game in, what would that be, 21-22? I think we beat you 3-2. But that was the same season in which you beat us 4-1 in the cup, which was oh goodness me, I can't even describe what that game was. It was awful.
But when you got promoted, when you got promoted, we played you 2010. You beat us on penalties, but then in the league,
there and that as well. Yeah, 13. I was at that.
You beat us 1-0 first year you were in. Then we did the cup game, and then you beat us in the league 1-1 after that, and the last 3 after that.
You've won them all. I think
it was on the screen before, so we managed to keep clean sheets generally. I mean, that 3-1 was massive for us that season.
That was, I remember. So we'd gone through a spell of home games that was last season, wasn't it? Yeah, we went through a spell of home games. We lost 3-1 at home to Everton, 4-1 then at home to Wolves, and 4-0 at home to those in red as well. And it was the worst run of home fixtures home results that we've had since we've been in the Premier League. I think we conceded something like 15 goals in 4 games at home. It was awful.
That's what we do. We start off the bad runs. We do start off the bad runs. Who are we going for this right wing position, Paul?
Well, I'm you got a choice it, haven't you? Really, it's either going to be Harrison or it's going to be Lindstrom. Lindstrom was doing a bit of press this week. So Nick thinks Lindstrom's the one to go. I actually prefer Lindstrom to Harrison. I just think he's a bit more mobile. I think Lindstrom would push Lewis Potter back further, as you know, if he's playing fullback. I think Harrison would almost encourage Lewis Potter to come forward, because I think he can drop back a little. He ends up dropping back a little bit more to cover Young, if anything. And I don't think Harrison will run past him, but Lindstrom's got a bit more pace. So I would prefer to see Lindstrom against Potter. I think that would be a much better battle than Harrison would give him.
I completely agree with Nick Carr. I think this is going to... I've watched Lindstrom now. When he started off slow, he did look like he's got to get up to speed. But he looks like he's doing it a bit in training now. You're watching Jai doing well, and then you see Lindstrom's doing well the other end. And I think Lindstrom's starting to get into it now. I definitely choose him over. You're right on what you said, Paul. I think you've got to watch Brentford, because they can pen you back. They know how to attack. They're clever. I've said this. The manager's clever. They know how to get up the pitch and stay up the pitch. And they can have you pent back for the whole game, because they do put it on you. Brentford do put it on you. They attack. I don't watch no games where Brentford sit back. They take it to everyone. And that's what scares me, is if Dyche thinks, I'm just going to sit back and let them take it to us, because Brentford just won't take the foot off the gas when they take it to you. So we've got to try and win the battle, as you say, Paul, and probably play Lindstrom and Jai, because they can probably get us to take it to Brentford.
Especially as Craig sort of pointed out, fullback wise is maybe their
that's the weakness, he said. I told Dyche
secure area at the moment anyway. So if Sean's aware of that, then it would make sense to sort of manipulate that situation and take advantage of it. So I mean, as we're sort of saying that, I know we've got one striker to throw in, but I'll ask Craig the question I've always asked, is that where do you think our weakness is, Craig? Where are you going to aim your attacks?
What you're rubbing your hands at?
Where do you think you're going to take advantage of us?
So I think that the pace of our front forward players are going to have to play a big part of this game. I'm certain that you're going to say Ashley Young's got a bit about him still.
Every time.
He's going to have a bit about him still. But the pace of Brian Mbeumo, of Johan Wissa, Keane Lewis Potter, if he plays further up the pitch, Fabio Carvalho when he comes on, and Kevin Schade, who's one of the quickest people I've ever seen on a football pitch. It depends where you guys want to play. If you play a high line against us and we can get the ball through them, break the lines or over the top, I'm afraid you're not catching them, whoever's going. So I'm not sure you've got an obvious weakness, but it depends on the depth of play in which you do. And if you try and play out from the back, as Dan has said, we'll pin you in. We will pin you up there if you want to try and play out from the back. So If you play a high line, then we'll beat you with the pace. If you try and play out from the back, we will pin you in. So it just depends on the game that you guys want to play. But I don't see any obvious weakness. I see a few obvious concerns, but not so much as obvious weakness, like you say, in GI and Lindstrom and McNeil in that front three, in front of Ghana and Mangala. It's just is worrying, isn't it, for a lot of teams?
The thing is, Craig, it is. This is why some people probably think when we get an opposition fan, they think, bloody hell, did they ever stop moaning about the team? But the thing is, like you've just said, that is a good front three. But when Dyche decides to get them all to do defending, when he says to Njai to help Mikalenko out and don't get forward that much, and when Lindstrom's pen back as well, and he's getting your wingers to do more defensive work than what they are attacking, he's not letting these attacking players be free. Now, I know when we had your team up just a minute ago, you've got 3 midfielders where your attacking players can just go. And that's it. We don't do that. We're not letting Njai be Njai. We're not letting Lindstrom be Lindstrom. Dyche's first thought, which we're getting frustrated about, is don't let the other team score, defend. So we defend, and then if you lose the ball, we attack. And that's boring as a fan, I think, to just defend and then only attack if the other team messes up. I'd rather just actually have a plan to attack.
Yeah. I would absolutely take NGI McNeil, and I have to be totally honest with you, I haven't seen enough of Lindstrom to say anything about him just yet. But I would absolutely take NGI and McNeil at Brentford.
Yeah, good players they are, but you're not having them. Well, if we can have your manager, I'll give you Michael Keane, and I'll give you Holgate. I think Holgate's still on my books.
Deals off. Michael Keane deals
off.
Michael
Keane and Holgate, mate. I'll give them you. 2 players you've got there. 2 massive players. Michael Keane and Holgate for your manager. Right. Striker, Paul. Who are we going for? More rumours that Beto could leave in January.
Well, everyone could leave in January. Bloody hell. We won't have any playing staff in summer next year unless we actually buy people. We've got about 25 people on end of contract. But you'd imagine, I mean, I'd say it every time, DCL is generally going to start. Beto doesn't seem to have it in with Dyche that he's going to get started. So it's just going to be...
Scored international, Beto did, by the way. He scored for his international team. Just putting it out there.
It doesn't matter, though, does it? It's going to be DCL first. DCL agree for about 65, 70 minutes. And then Beto's going to come on after that.
Do you know what? I've got no grudge against Calvert-Lewin, by the way. I mean, I just think that the amount of chances that Calvert-Lewin gets, he should be a striker that's getting 10, 15 goals, and he doesn't look like he can score one sometimes. But if you want to put him in, Paul, I'd rather Brozier play, personally. And I know Dyche is not going to play. He's probably Dyche will make him go through every routine that he can before he plays. So it's probably going to be... make sure you've worn your new boots 8 times on the grass. Then when you've worn your boots 8 times on the grass, then you can play in the under-21s. You need, I think it's 12 games in the under-21s. And then you can have 10 minutes in the first team.
He's not got enough experience, Dan, of football generally.
Brozier,
is what Sean would say. But we both
right, that is our team then, Paul. That's what we've come up with. I mean, I'm sorry we took long on it. It's just until we can get Dyche not doing a Reading and getting a cemented team. I'd love, Paul, to just when we do lineups, me and you just put it in and say, same lineup, perfect. Love the way everyone's playing. Really happy with the manager. The manager's tactics are fantastic. I'd love that. 2 minutes, that's it. See you later. Our lineup done. I mean, Craig's was pretty quick. We've just spent about an hour on that. I don't like that. That shows his problems, doesn't it? Right. Let's get the lineups. Let's get rid of that now. That is our lineup. Mine and Paul's joint lineup. We didn't argue too much.
No, we were all right, actually. Jamie's gone for the same, apart from Harrison on the right instead of McNeil. So fair dues. Always like-minded, Jamie.
Harrison's done bad when he's come on. I think he's starting to learn, to be fair.
Nick has basically gone for the same. Although I wonder whether he would have McNeil on the left and then Jai in the 10 in behind Calvert-Lewin. So that would be interesting. If we keep going, this is Emma's. So for those not clear with Emma's emoji, speak for our lineup. The peach is Pickford in goal. The wheelchair is Ashley Young. Then we've got Tarkovsky, and then Brantwaite is the goat. Mikolenko with the bandage on his head.
Because he cut his head.
Lindstrom, I think, is the storm.
Yeah,
so
that'll be Lindstrom
on the right with Mangala Apple next to Garner Gay in the middle with what was the zombie?
Is that Ndai? So
Ndai, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Ndai. Well done, Craig. He knows it.
He's on it.
He's got it.
He's in the
Craig
zone.
knows he wins all the quizzes. Craig does. You know what I mean? He knows it.
And then McShlong goes in behind Beto.
If you're wondering why that purple thing is McNeil, it's because he wears tight shorts and he's got a big one apparently.
Okay.
So his name is now McSlong. I think an Everton fan. McNeil had a reputation of having a big slong. An Everton fan, being an Everton fan, went and made his slong bigger in his shorts, and it took off that he was Donkey Kong. You know what I mean? So his name's McSlong now. So that's just the story of McNeil. Just in case
there are lineups given tonight. Nick is asking Craig, as a neutral, when you see us be boring, are you amazed at our lack of support or service to our striker?
I think.
What do you think of our lot, basically?
I think that you could have kind of hit the nail on the head, really, already. Is for some reason there's such a focus on the defensive work that Dyche wants you guys to be doing when you've got. Let's focus on the front four players that we had on your picture, which was Lindstrom, McNeil, and Jai, and DCL. But if you take the three behind DCL out, all it does is isolates a striker. So what you've essentially done is gone for a 5, or let's just go for a 9-1 formation, shall we? And you've gone for a 9-1 formation and completely taken away any midfield support that those front three behind DCL could have. So I'm not sure boring would be the word that I would describe it, but it's incredibly conservative. Let's go for that. And what I mean by that is it's so overly defensive.
Yeah,
we
like you see it as well.
The likes of Southampton, for example, that's certainly how we felt. And
when I was speaking, I went on Tottenham. It's a podcast of every single game. Last game, they cover every single game, and we was talking about every game in the Premier League, the last one's played, and he was speaking about Southampton, and he goes, "They never. When you look at their back line, it's always a 5." He said their back line is always a 5. And I said to him, yeah, Everton could have made their back line a 5, but instead, Sean Dyche sat back. And the fan said, I've never seen Southampton's defensive line not a back 5. I goes, when they played us, Sean Dyche decided to make us a back 5 and played completely into their hands. And it was the nail in the coffin when they said that. When the Southampton fans said that our back 5 is always a back 5, and no matter who we played other than you. And I was thinking that's down to Sean Dyche's tactics, that is. And he lost us that game against Southampton, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Is that all the lineups then, Paul?
They're the lineups, mate.
Right, here we go. Here we go, people. This is probably the funnest part of the show. We end it with the funnest part. It is score prediction time, people. Let's get a bit of... Here we go, people. Score prediction. We have a opposition fan on as well, so it's going to be an interesting one. Get your score predictions in the comments. Me and Paul's going to give ours. Craig's going to give his head-to-head the night before, Friday night. Score prediction. Everton versus Brentford. Let's do this. Right, the order we're going to go in is... I'm going to go first. I'm going to go first. We always normally do you first, Paul. I'm not going to do it this time, yeah. Because we always normally go Paul, then it'd be Craig, then it'd be me last. And I'd be last to see what everyone's going to say. I always think it's an advantage, but I don't think it is, people. I want to get it off my chest early. I really like Brentford's manager. I know I haven't said it before on this show, but I like it. I like the way his hair waves. I like his locks.
How he points at his watch.
I like his eyes. I like it. I don't even mind him, but I don't like managers pointing at the watch. But he can point at it as much as he wants if he's our manager. I do like him. I'm not going to lie. And I want him. And I'm hoping the freaking group are in as love with him as I am. You know what I mean? I hope they are. But I know Craig ain't going to let him go. Right. Here we go. My score prediction. You've got a good team. I'm not going to deny that. We need a bit of luck, and we need to be on it. 2-1. 2-1. We always say this, and it's 0-0 or 1-0. But I'm going to go. Craig said there's going to be loads of goals, no clean sheets. But, yeah, I am going to go 2-1 Everton, not Brentford. 2-1 Everton. I would never not believe in my team. 2-1 Everton. The goal scorers for us, I'm going to go for Ajayi. I want Ajayi to show to Craig how good he is. And Lindstrom. Let's let Lindstrom have a goal. You know what I mean? To light him up. We had in the comments about Lindstrom coming to light this game. So let's have Ajayi and Lindstrom as the goal scorers. For you, Visser, I think he's fantastic, as I've said. He's a shitbag. And he just pops up, doesn't he? So 2-1, Ajayi, Lindstrom, and Visser is my score prediction. I'm going to pass it on to you, Craig. What have you got?
10-1 Bs, because there's no way we keep a clean sheet.
10-1! 10-1! What's your problem? You ain't ever coming back on this channel again. 10-1.
Do you want me head? Do you want me head or do you want me heart? What do you want?
I know me and Paul sounded miserable on our lineups and probably depressed the hell out of you, but 10-1, we're not that shit. Oh, here we go. Right.
I'll go. If I'm going for my head, based on our current away form, and knowing that we're not going to keep the ball out of the net, I'm gonna do what you said, Dan, and I'm going to tell you it's going to be a 1-1 draw. But my heart's telling me that we're going to pick up 3 points away from home this weekend. And
always positive.
I think we're going to win 3-1. I think Wiss is going to score twice, and Mbeumo is going to score one, and McNeil is going to inevitably score against us again.
Positive. I like him. To be fair, I wouldn't rate you if you come on and you didn't say your team was going to win. I think, bloody hell, he's not much of a supporter. But, 3-1. I don't want it, but I heard it, Craig. I don't want it, but I heard it. Right, so, Paul, what's yours?
I'm a bit safe. I'm a bit split as well, to be fair. Head-wise, I'd be saying 1-1, to be honest. I don't think we've got it in us to score at the moment more than one goal. You know, I just think we defend too much at home, especially. So 1-1 would be the head one, but screw that. We're going to win 1-0.
When you said screw that, you can't go screw that. We're going to win 1-0. I mean, we're going to win
1-0. Like another clean sheet. The thing is, as well, that it's happened. It's only happened. Obviously, Sean's been with us a while. There's been twice that we've not scored with like 3 games in a row, which you'd think it would be more, actually. So I do think we'll score tomorrow. But
Craig said that they'll score. Like they never don't score, so Paul's gone against me.
Wow,
I have gone against it.
Like the table that Dan put up at the start showed. We've scored in every game apart from one. So let's see if you can keep.
Well, there you are then. So that'll go to shite. So I'm going 1-0, and I'm going to say, we've got to have some on left field, to be honest with you. Hang on. It's 1-0 Tarkowski.
I knew you was going to say, as soon as I got that, as soon as I saw your face change, I knew it was 1-0 Tarkowski. Oh,
He'll do an Adebayor and run the length of the pitch.
he probably would, yeah.
Yeah.
He wouldn't need to cup his ears, though, would they? They're already sticking out.
He best not get sent off or something like that. They'd love it, wouldn't they? They'd love
Absolutely.
it. They would love it.
Funny,
They'd be
that.
cheering on that one. So 1-0, Tarkowski,
Yeah.
overhead kick, top corner. Brentford fans crying. Craig absolutely in tears, just because still crying that he didn't play for him and went to Burnley. Tarkowski hasn't been playing that well for us, so he does need to step it up a little bit. He hasn't been as bad as some make out, but he has been playing with an injury, so what do you expect? But he says he's fit now, so he says he's really fit and he's keen to show Craig what he's all about, and I'm game for that, Tarkowski. Right, what score predictions have we got? Let's get the comments on the screen. So people, get your comments in right now. We're going to finish the show. We want your score predictions in the comments before we end the show. Let's hear from you. Put your score predictions in and your goal scorers, and we'll finish the Toffee Bluecast.
So we've got a few not negative, conservative. So Nick's gone 1-1. He's not told me his goal scorers. You could throw it in. But appreciate it, Nick. Good lad. So 1-1, he's gone for. Emma's gone 2-2. She's normally quite spot on with scores.
Oh, do you know what? When Emma does a draw, she's often right, you know. Oh, my days. I hate it when she puts a draw because in the Euros, we did a Euro prediction, not Euros, the international games, and she got them all right on predictions.
She would be very good, to be fair. She would be very good. I mean, she's, coming to Goodison, why would you be positive? I mean, and the one we always need every week, because it's always the same, and it'll happen. It'll happen one day. Eugene 4-1.
Yes. I love it.
DC Electric and Ghana Gay. Again.
Love it. Eugene loves an hat trick. He really does. I think he's supporting the wrong team to get an hat trick, but he loves a hat trick.
Loves a hat trick.
He probably get one if he's supporting Man City. No, it's coming. He's at Calvert-Lewin as well. Come on. I'm game for that 4-1.
And there are score predictions.
That is it, people. Thanks, everyone, for the score predictions. Thanks for getting involved. Make sure you do hit that like and subscribe. Support the channel. The more that you like it, the more it's going to be put about on YouTube and get more Everton fans watching it and other fans as well, because we often get an opposition fan on now the night before we play them. We've had you on, Craig, again. Loved having you on. Do you want to give yourself a plug? Well, where do they find you? Because I know some people want to follow you. They might like you on the show.
So we do have two channels actually now at the moment. So the main podcast channel is at the Ealing Road on Twitter and at the Ealing Road Pod on Instagram. But for your in-depth Brentford look and Brentford review, Mike, the main host of the Ealing Road Podcast, now has his own channel, Mike Live in 5, where he breaks down the details of the Brentford games and their fantastic insights to what's happening at the football club at the moment. So please do drop us a follow, drop us a subscription, and I'm sure we'll be back here again next season.
Yeah, last season, like towards the end of the season, we did a show where we did all the teams that are in the relegation battle that had a chance.
This is Greg's other appearance.
Yeah. So let's not do one of them again, right? You push up the table, us push up the table, and then we'll let another YouTuber do it. Yeah, we'll let another YouTuber do that show. We won't be on it. How about that? We don't want no drama this season. That's us done, everybody. Thanks for listening. Big game tomorrow. I'm ready for it now. I am ready for it. I do rate these, though, to be fair. If we win, I'll be quite happy because I know we've got a big game ahead of us this game.
Should be a decent game. Should be a good game.
Don't walk in the park. Right, everybody, dropping the music now and the banner. Hope you had a good show. See you for the match reaction tomorrow.